Good morning. I'm Gianni the Greek, coming to you live straight from Las Vegas. It's Thursday, January 30th. Got a little steam room light for you here today. As I promised, I will be doing these as often as I possibly can throughout 2025 because I got one goal: to help share as much information, actionable information, as much experiences and knowledge as I can, especially for those of you that want to use sports betting as an investment vehicle like I have. Now, I know the majority simply use it for entertainment, and I think that's what most should do because it's a very difficult market to beat long-term. Most are not equipped or prepared for that ride. So if you're doing it for fun, you should never lose more than you could afford. And the good part is you'll make some scores along the way as well. But if you're doing it as an investment vehicle, then you got to be prepared for what's ahead. And more importantly, you got to know how to handle your wins and your losses. Speaking of those, transparency first and foremost. That's what I believe in. You got to tell them when you win. You got to tell them when you lose. That's only fair. And more importantly, you need to be able to share what the ride looks like, because I can't say it enough. Even during my most profitable years, there are some horrific stretches that I needed to overcome. And unless I managed my risk correctly, that would have never happened. In fact, it didn't happen. For the 5, 6, 7 years prior that I had winning information, some of the best information at my fingertips, I continued to lose bankroll after bankroll after bankroll, because unless you manage risk correctly, you're a mathematical certainty to lose money long term. But if you have plus EV winning information and you manage that risk correctly, the beautiful thing about it is you become the mathematical certainty to turn a profit. You become the favorite. And that's my goal here. Now, tell you when I win, tell you when I lose. Coming off only my second losing year in the last 10. Documented. That's the bottom line. Now, it was an awful year. In fact, 2019 was worse, but we bounced back in 2020. I think had my best year of those last 10. So far, so good in 2025. I'm not going to get down on myself if I was behind, so I'm not going to celebrate the fact that I'm up with 1 day left in January. Last 7 days especially, done a lot of damage. And if you've been watching WagerTalk today, you know that I've hooked up with a group that I was with probably 10 years ago when I really started winning. And for the last 5 years, we weren't working together, but now we are once again. So I'm really excited for 2025. And more importantly, the low volume continues to pay off, coming off a nice 3-1. Last night, 1-0 the night before that. So that's the goal. But with all that said, when there is value in the marketplace, I'm going to fire. I don't wake up and say I'm low volume, so I could only bet 4 plays today. No, that's not how it works. In the real world, that's not how it works. In fact, I may wake up and find there's no value on that day. So what do you got to do? You got to pass. Even though I'm in the industry where passing doesn't pay the bills, my goal is to win long term. That's the only thing I promised you. From day one, when I sat down with Kelly in Vegas in 2017, you could go back and watch that. I can't promise you I'm going to win every bet, every day, every week, or even every month. What I can promise you is long term, I will be profitable, and there's nothing the books can do about it, because I'm going to manage my risk correctly, and I have access to some of the sharpest information on the planet. So far, so good. If our goals are aligned, I will not disappoint you. If they're not, then I promise you I will disappoint you. My goal is when December 31st rolls around to be part of the 0.5% of sports bettors. That's correct. 1 out of every 200 that actually can say they turned a profit in 2025. So if that's your goal, head on over to WagerTalk.com. You know what to do. With that said, let's start moving along, because I got some information for you that's actionable. And we're also going to go over some other things. As you know, I've talked about the risk of ruin. You determine that. And a surprise for you, I'm launching after the Super Bowl a Blackjack course. That's correct. I will put together a Blackjack seminar for those that are interested to become the favorites against the casino. I already have the setup from the steam room. It'll probably be 5 1 to 2 hour classes, probably 10, 15 hours of instructions. More importantly, I will urge you to practice what I teach at home. And finally, I will be available to whoever joins us over the next 12 months, where they can reach out, email me, DM me any questions that maybe they went and played and this happened, how they should have handled it. And I will be there to answer you. I will teach you what basic strategy to follow, what deviations from basic strategy to do based on the count. I will teach you the money management and the bet sizing that is most advantageous. I will show you the ways that you could avoid being hot. You know what that means? Getting backed off. And I think my history has proven that I am the favorite versus the casinos. Go over to Greek_gambler. You will see the videos. The latest one that I have is from Aria being backed off. Again, that's nothing to be proud of, because I wish I could play openly everywhere, but it's a confirmation that they don't want your action on the blackjack table. So those that are yearly subscribers, I'm giving it to them for nothing. They will be able to join the seminar for nothing. Now remember, I've taken the course. There's courses out there. The MIT group that is famous, they have one. A couple other blackjack legends have one. Average price, 5 dimes. That's what I paid. I paid 5 dimes to take the course. And I'm glad I did, because it confirmed for me that I truly have the edge. With that said, mine's going to be nowhere near that. The details will be coming out next week. So anyone interested, it's coming your way. And like I said, anyone with me for the year, that's on the house, baby. That one will be on the house. So a lot of fun. And more importantly, you'll be able to use a ton of what you learn in the blackjack seminar to carry over in the sports betting, because it's the one time you will see long-term in real time. Here's what I mean. One-on-one with a face dealer, which is what I look for, I'll be able to get 150 to 200 hands an hour. So let's say 150, the low end of that spectrum. I play 4 hours. That means I'm making 600 bets per session in only 4 hours. Let's say I play 6 days a week, right? That's 2,400 bets that I'm going to be making. I mean, 3,600 bets, forgive me. 3,600 bets in a week. I do that per month. We're making over 12,000 bets. In sports, how long do you have to wager to place 12,000 bets to actually see the long term, to see, am I plus EV? Do I have an edge? Well, in blackjack, you will see that happen in real time. That's what actually opened my eyes and changed my life for the sports betting, because it made me see that as long as I made the right move every time, regardless of outcome, because there will be times you will be the big favorite against the house, but they get to 20 and you're stuck on 19 and there's nothing you can do about it. That will happen, knowing you have the edge and you will still lose. That will carry over in the sports betting, where you know, I placed a plus EV bet. I placed the best bet I possibly can. It just didn't cash for me. You will see that play out. But more importantly, you will also see, because of the long term, if you manage risk correctly, you're going to beat the casino. So you'll see, as long as I do the right thing over and over and over again, bet the right amounts over and over and over again, there's nothing they can do but pay me. It takes a lot of work, but I promise you, anyone that takes that seminar will be armed with the skill set, as long as they practice it, to be favorites against the casino. And if you're here in Vegas, hit me up. I will even come with you and stand behind you and watch you play for an hour or two. Then we could have some lunch and I'll critique your work and let you know where you made mistakes, what I would have done. So I'm really excited to add that into what I'm doing for 2025. Now, with that out of the way, let's get some actionable information. Obviously, everybody's awaiting the Super Bowl, big Super Bowl next week. Chiefs, Philadelphia. It's pretty much a coin flip. We know that 80% of the time, 8 out of 10 times, the point spread does not come into play when it comes to a Super Bowl. Pick the winner, cash the ticket. This year, I think it's a lot higher than that, because we're looking at a 1.5 point spread. So it really shouldn't come into play. Again, I don't want to say it won't, but highly probable the point spread will not matter. Simply pick the winner, coin flip type of game. Now, I have a package up at WagerTalk. Already have my 5% loaded in there. By the time they kick off, I am hoping to have both the side and the total, as well as a ton of props. #1 in props at WagerTalk in NFL and NFL Super Bowl. No need to go over the results. Head on over to WagerTalk.com. Check my page, and you will see how we've done in the Super Bowl. That package is already available. Real quickly, I'm a little bit surprised about the total. I mean, the fact that it's come down after going up a little bit, when we know the bias of the bettors is to go over. We also know that both these teams are coming off higher scoring games. So there's some recency bias there. Yeah, that total, man. And even some sharps I spoke to thought this one would be, 50, 51 and probably get bet up to 52, 53. So that one's a little bit confusing. I would love to hear your comments. So make sure you go down below, smash that like button. I love you guys. Do that. Don't take much, man. The more engagement I see, the more of these you will get. So go down there. Let me know your pick for the Super Bowl. Give me some of that reasoning as well, because I know I'm going to catch some shit if I'm wrong. Give it to me before the game, baby. That's all I ask. Anyone can talk all the shit they want, because you shouldn't agree with all my opinions. In fact, you better not agree with all my opinions, because I'm going to be wrong a lot. I'm just going to be right a little bit more, enough for us to profit and make good money and do this for a living. It could be worse, right? So yeah, God bless America. We could get up and invest in the markets and find some value betting sports. Just looking at the Bitcoin price real quickly. I got some stocks too, but I don't want to really go into that, even though I do have some good ones for you. I just got into 2 earlier. Yes, one on Wednesday, one yesterday. If you guys are interested in that, I'm not a financial advisor. In fact, I'm the furthest thing from a financial advisor. I highly recommend to take advice from a professional. So I'm not urging anyone to follow my advice when it comes to stocks, crypto, commodities, precious metals, although I do think you should have gold in your portfolio. I think that's a lock. I've been harping on that since it was 1,000, 1,100 with Philly Godfather. And I was harping about it at 2,000 last year. And I'm still talking about it at 25, 2,700 this year. So gold is one of those where your financial advisor, I think you should have some. And like I said, if you're interested in stocks, because I know this is about sports betting, let me know. I'll take a couple minutes out of my day, out of the video, and go over what I have in my portfolio right now, short term and long term. Anyone interested? If you're not, that's cool too. Do your thing. I wish you guys the best. I really do. Now, let's go over some actionable information for today. Couple sharp plays. I saw Orlando in an account at -4.5. That one's 5 across the board. And also in the NHL, Ottawa at -105. Now, the groups I'm working with have not done very well this past month in the NHL. In fact, I don't think I've released much NHL at all, because I don't see the dominance there. I see the respect in the marketplace, but not the kind that I'm looking for. So haven't been doing much as far as NHL goes, not even NBA. I've been very selective. I think that's why we've done well. But let me read off some of the college basketball plays. Now, if you've been watching WagerTalk today, you know I hooked up with the group that I haven't had for, like 5+ years. So I'm so excited, because with them guys, I have a lot of information from early in the morning, because these guys are betting in China overnights. And then by morning, I'm able to confirm some of the stuff. And I have such a good relationship with them. We instant message that I could actually, this is the guys that I could actually ask, like, is this a setup? Is this manipulation? Why do you want 4X instead of 1X on this one? So it's a great relationship. Let me read off some of these. Again, follow, fade, or ignore. I haven't released a single premium play yet today. Take that as you wish, but I'm pretty sure they will come off this list. Start off with 836 Long Beach State. That one I saw multiple accounts at +17. 758 Monmouth plus the 4. 791 Tennessee State plus the 8.5. 816 Denver plus the 5. 841, I believe that's Seattle plus 11. Couple totals for you. 749 over 145.5. Stony Brook College of Charleston, also Stony Brook plus the 16. So in that same game, they took the 16 with Stony Brook. They bet it over as well. Illinois, Nebraska over 154. That's game number 803. 787 over 145.5, Liberty, Kennesaw State. 829 over 143.5, Portland and Loyola Marymount. Now, what usually happens is, depending on when we bet these, the line will move because the market will reflect that sharp money, that respected money. But if you miss the number, if you don't think there's still value, let's say you lean over and I gave out the over 143 and it's now 145 and I have 146 and you already like the over, but it's now a worse number. I recommend you sit back and wait, because what happens is a lot of times there's some resistance. Sometimes it may be public money coming in opposite, because a lot of times sharp and public disagree, or also it's just another group that now sees value on team B or total B instead of A because of the line move. Like they may have liked it over at 143, but now that it's 146, 147, they like it under. That respect will push it back down and get you a better number later. So keep that in mind. If you miss a number, go back and revisit it. Some of the props that I already got, that's what I'm going to do. I missed some of the unders because the price just wasn't there. And rather than take a bad number, I know the bias of the bettors, mostly recreational, they bet the overs when it comes to Super Bowl props. We all know that. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, it's the one game that the sports books don't care what the wise guys are on. They could care less, because the public money is going to overwhelm them and help them manage risk so efficiently. In fact, more times than not, they end up needing the wise guys, needing the sharps to do well for them to make money. Because you got to remember, I've been here now 25, 30 Super Bowls, and I don't think they've lost in any of them. Maybe one, and it was like a slight hold. And then before that, it was like in the 70s where they lost money because it landed in the middle where they got middled. Otherwise, it's almost impossible for the sportsbook to lose money for a Super Bowl because of all the prop bets, because of all the teasers, all the parlays, all the negative EV bets. And like I said, it's bettors that don't bet all year that want to bet the Super Bowl. That's why if you like the money line, it usually doesn't reflect what the point spread is. Bettors that like the dog usually take it on the money line, because it's like my sister's going to call me and say, who do I like in the Super Bowl? And let's say the line was 7. And I said, oh, I like the dog. Say I like Philly at +7. She would go to bet it and be like, dude, if I only put up $100, I only win 90 something. But if I put 100 on the Eagles to win the game, I get back 200. Oh, I'm taking the Eagles on the money line and I got something to cheer for. So you get a lot of that when it comes to the Super Bowl. A lot of bettors that don't bet all year and a lot of bettors that want to put up a little to win a lot. That's why the books do so well, because there's so many parlays from bettors that just want to put up a little just to win a lot and enjoy the game. So keep that in mind. Now, also, we have some UFC action on Saturday. That package goes up later today. Let's talk about that real quickly. Here's what I can tell you. We saw some because it was off a week for the UFC. You saw some lines that moved really, really significantly. Here's a perfect example. Faris Ziam and Mike Davis. Now, one of the sharpest originators that I work with gave me Mike Davis at huge plus money to bet that side. Another group that I work with, after the line moved a lot, came in and told me bet Ziam at +160. So I got two very respected, very profitable MMA bettors. Both of them, one's got fighter A, one's got fighter B. The difference is they each have it at plus money, really good plus money, compared to where the line sits right now. Now let's talk main event, co-main event real quickly. Not now stamping an approval on any pick, but let's go over some thoughts. Izzy and Imavov. Bottom line, based on the betting line and some comparison betting lines, it almost looks like an auto bet on Izzy, even though we're seeing some sharp money take that line down. And I could conclude there's been sharp money on Imavov because Nick Kaliga's bet Imavov. And he's one of the guys that I respect most. He's on the dog. But it's hard to fade Izzy in this spot. I mean, we have a common opponent in Cannoneer where Izzy closed -5, 600 and Imavov closed -120. I don't care about the result. I don't care how the game goes. What I want to know is, what did the line open? What did we, the market, decide it should be? What did it close at? And you saw a huge difference, and I get it. It's a different fight, even a different time. I think there's a 2-year gap between. But that's a big change in implied win probability. from minus 120 to minus 500. You're going from, saying this guy's going to win 53, 54, 55% of the time against Cannoneer to the other guy beating Cannoneer 85% of the time, 84, 83. Like, that's a big difference in what we, the market, think between one fighter and the other. Same thing in the Shara and Michael Venom Page. Again, sharp guy I respect is on Michael Venom Page. And that's why you've seen the line go up on Shara, but then come back a little bit, because there's some sharp bettors that think Shara is overrated, overvalued. Obviously, he's got to fight over there because of visa problems. But the narrative here in the States is he's got a name. He's being pushed and promoted. But his skill set at the UFC level, guys I know are looking for spots to fade him. And now you got a MVP with a 6-inch reach advantage in what should be a stand-up fight. Neither of these guys average more than a half a takedown attempt per 5 minutes. So unless MVP really tries to wrestle in this fight, we should see a stand-up. And with a 6-inch reach advantage, I get it. You can't overlook the fact that Shara's going to have the power. Shara's got the youth. And more importantly, they're fighting at 185. MVP's a 170-pound fighter, so it's almost a free roll for him. You're going up in weight. If you win, you got a big name, a higher weight class, so it's a feather in your cap. If you lose, bro, you give you props. You fought an undefeated fighter up a weight class. And if you look at MVP, who he's faced so far, those guys in the UFC after 2 fights, they've won 72% of their fights. So they threw him in the deep end immediately. And it's not just because he's got the name. It's also because of his skill set. The UFC is not going to put someone out there that doesn't belong in that fight against that opponent. So the fact they were putting him in against really tough guys show you how highly they think of him. Up a weight class, man, tough to fade, tough. I would have loved to see Sharps come in on the favorite here because I was kind of leaning that way. And let's not forget, I kind of understand the dog money because we're coming off a year, outlier year, where a little over 70% of favorites cash in the UFC. Now, other than Major League Baseball and NHL, MMA is the third major sport in line where dogs win the most. That didn't happen. It was an outlier year in all sports. We know that. I touched on that multiple times, how rarely have we ever seen that. The preseason favorite ends up winning all the championships. It happened like in NBA. It happened in Major League Baseball. It happened in NCAA football. Like there were so many. I'm just going off the top of my head where the preseason favorites ended up winning the championship. And we know how in the NFL this year, how well the favorites did. I think it was, you got to go back 20, 25 years, like in the month of December where favorites won less or dogs won less. Forgive me. So it was a favorite year. So, I'm not surprised to see the sharp bettors taking advantage of some of these dogs, thinking that the sports books got to protect themselves this year. They know what the bettors are going to do, the recreational bettors. They're going to tie up those money line parlays. They're going to throw in those favorites. I mean, just looking now, where are we? I'll tell you. Through 2 events, we now have 16 favorites, 11 dogs. That's 59%. 6 dogs won last card. There were some big dogs. Remember, Peyton Talbot went down at like minus 1100. There were some big dogs coming in, and we're at 15 finishes and 12 decisions. So 55.6% finishes. That's up from the 10-year average. Over the last 10 years, it's actually 49.6 finishes, 50.4 decisions. That's all of the UFC. Men and women, all weight classes. So it's about 6% above that, but such a small sample size, it means absolutely nothing. Just like with the dogs, where we have almost 41% cashing, it should be around 33, 34%. So there too, we're about 6-7% above what we expect. But the sample size is just too small, 27 fights. It'll start making sense after we get through 100, 150, 200 fights. So that's some of the things that are on my mind heading into this weekend and all the action. Again, next week, it'll be a lot of Super Bowl talk, a lot of props. While that's happening, don't overlook college basketball. Don't overlook the NBA. Don't overlook NHL, tennis, all those other markets that may be overlooked even by the odds makers a little bit. So whether you follow or fade, I hope you cash them, don't trash them. I wish you your families, everyone out there, the very best. And go down there, smash that like button for me. Please engage. I do go through and read every single comment, and I wish I had time to reply to them all, but I'll do that here on the next Steam Room Light. Love you.